Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to step onto the ice for some biscuits and penalties. I'm Cobra from vacation, and I am joined by Alex, my co-host, my loyal co-host. Say hello, Alex.
Hello.
We are definitely getting into the swing of things once again. The Stanley Cup Playoffs are upon us. They haven't started yet. The final games of the season are underway right now. But the Stanley Cup playoffs are the most exciting part of sport. In my opinion, of all sport. More exciting. They're more exciting than the World Series, more exciting than the NBA Finals, and more exciting than the Super Bowl. Because here's the thing with the Super Bowl. Super Bowl is only one game. However, the Stanley Cup playoffs it can go as long as 28 games to get to that trophy. Think about it. You can have every single game go to a game 7, or every single game go to a 4-game sweep. It takes a minimum of 16 games to win this championship. A trophy that is over 30 pounds. And when you win that trophy, it just feels light as a feather. But interestingly enough, there are 3 teams that will not be in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And for the first time, neither one of these 3 are in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And those teams are the Boston Bruins, kind of surprised there. The Pittsburgh Penguins, interestingly enough. This is what happens when you don't embrace speed and youth and instead trade your first round pick because you want to keep the band together. And of course, and interestingly enough, the New York Rangers. Alex, anything you want to add? You want to talk about when it comes to these 3 teams? What happened here?
It's crazy that these 3 teams have been playoff dominance in the past 3 or 4 years. The Bruins winning multiple championships, the Penguins winning multiple championships, the Rangers just always looking in the background of the playoff picture, always being spoilers to teams that are pretty dominant in the regular season. It seems like coaching and ownership with problems in most of these teams. Obviously, the Bruins started off really strong, kind of fell off the All-Star break, fired their coach, traded Brandon Marchand, and then fell off a cliff right after the break. The Penguins were dominant on the offense with Sidney Crosby. They were not good at goalie at all. And the Rangers just seemed to struggle, and Zibanejad looked slow, and the team just didn't look good at all. And it seems like a lot of issues with scoring for all 3 of these teams with their best players.
That seems to be the interesting part about it is every single one of these teams, Rangers, Bruins, and Penguins, had one key aspect of their game that just fell off a cliff. With the Penguins, it was inconsistent goaltending and age caught up to them. With the Rangers, it was inconsistent scoring. And with the Boston Bruins, it was very inconsistent defense and backup goaltending because they, instead of keeping Linus Ullmark, who's on Ottawa right now, they kept Jeremy Swayman. And Swayman, is he has a number 1 goalie, but he can't carry the big load. If that makes sense. Like it's almost like he needs a little bit of time to rest, to kind of gel a little bit. But it's like some of the parts didn't make up the whole with the Rangers. And it's weird because they have Shesterkin, who was a Vezina caliber goaltender last year. And he can't carry the whole team. And he got hung out to dry out there. The Rangers always seem to be when it comes to those three teams, particularly, they always seem to be the bridesmaid. They only made the Stanley Cup final once and got beat. Kind of, one of the worst moments of Henrik Lundqvist's career, losing to the Kings. But, that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. And, let's see. We also, speaking of the Kings, long-time player, the LA Kings, Alec Martinez, officially is wrapping up the skates for good after this season. So, Alex, chime in. What do you have to say about Alec Martinez's career?
Definitely a great resume for him. Coming off of, I believe he was a 3-time Cup champion. He's played with multiple teams with a long resume to go off of it. I haven't heard much about him because I haven't been watching hockey for that long. I got into hockey back in 2018, so I wasn't really like that into hockey, so I didn't know who Alec Martinez was until kind of tonight when I saw his retirement. But definitely congrats to him. Hopefully for a good retirement for him, and hopefully, he can enjoy it because he's struggled. Not struggled, but he's been on a bad Blackhawks team, not really doing anything with them for a long time. So hopefully retirement treats him well, and he doesn't have to put the skates back on again, because some of these players either play too long or try to come back in the ice again. It doesn't end well for them. So hopefully he doesn't have to do that, and he can just ride off in the sunset and be happy.
Alec Martinez will probably forever be an LA Kings hero. He is responsible for many game-winning goals in the Stanley Cup for the LA Kings, even more than Anze Kopitar. But anyhow, Kopitar, Gabrick, I think Martinez is more important than those two as far as for the Stanley Cup wins. Anywho. But before we get into our main event, you know what we gotta do? We gotta do a pretty good look at the standings. So we're gonna start with the Western Conference, and Alex, if you have it in front of you, and when you get in front of you, start with the Central. Read that off.
The Winnipeg Jets, the leading team, feels like all season, at 54, 21, and 4, 112 points. The Dallas Stars, 50, 23, and 6, 106 points. Colorado Avalanche, 48, 29, and 4, 100 points. Minnesota Wild, 43, 30, and 7, 93 points. Right behind them and tied with them for the 1 or 2 wild card spots in the Western Conference. St. Louis Blues, 43, 30, and 7, 93 points. The Utah Hockey Club, 36, 30, and 13, 85 points. Nashville Predators, 29, 42, and 8, 66 points. And the Blackhawks, 23, 46, and 10 at 56 points.
Nice. All right. And for the other part, the Pacific Division, the Vegas Golden Knights, 48, 22, and 9, 105 points. The LA Kings, 46, 24, and 9, 101 points. The Edmonton Oilers, 46, 28, and 5, 97 points. The Calgary Flames, 38, 27, 14, 90 points. The Vancouver Canucks, 37, 29, and 13, 87 points. The Anaheim Ducks, 35, 36, 78 points. The Seattle Kraken 34-40-6, 74 points. And the San Jose Sharks 20-48-11, 51 points. All right, Alex, your turn on the Metro.
We did the Metropolitan Division and the number one seed in the Eastern Conference, the Washington Capitals, 50-20-9, 109 points. The Carolina Hurricanes right behind them, 47-27-5, 99 points. The New Jersey Devils, the
Sorry.
Devils, 41-31-7, 89 points. Columbus Blue Jackets, 37-33-9, 83 points. The New York Rangers, 37-36-7, 81 points. New York Islanders, 34-33-12, 80 points. Pittsburgh Penguins, 33-35-12, 78 points. And the Philadelphia Flyers, 33-37-9 with 75 points.
That's kind of shocking that the Flyers fell off a cliff. You know, then again, it's almost like they miss their former star goaltender, famous women respecter Carter Hart. Had to do that. So now in the Atlantic Division, the Toronto Maple Leafs, who will be eliminated in second round. Wait, what? Where'd that come out? Excuse me. 48-26 400 points. The Tampa Bay Lightning, 45-26 98 points. The Florida Panthers, the defending Stanley Cup champion, 46-29 96 points. The Ottawa Senators, 43-30-6, 92 points. The Montreal Canadiens, 39-31-9, 87 points. The Detroit Red Wings, 37-35-7, 81 points. The Buffalo Sabres, 35-37-6, 76 points. And the Boston Bruins, 32-39-9, 73 points. That's kind of interesting. It doesn't seem like the worst teams in the East are as bad as they seem. But we are actually going to mix things up just a little bit because the games of the weekend, there aren't going to be much because pretty much everyone is getting ready for the Stanley Cup playoffs. And as we read into the standings, this is the bracket. This is how we are assuming the bracket is going to be. If you followed the standings, Toronto, Tampa Bay, Florida, Washington, Montreal, Carolina, New Jersey, and Ottawa, and Ottawa and Montreal is expected to be in for the East. Winnipeg, St. Louis, Dallas, Colorado, LA Kings, Edmonton, Vegas, and Minnesota expected on the West. And as the bracket is expected to be, it would be Toronto facing off against Ottawa, Tampa Bay facing off against Florida, Washington facing Montreal, Carolina facing New Jersey, Winnipeg facing St. Louis, Dallas facing Colorado, the Kings facing Edmonton, and the Golden Knights facing off against Minnesota. All right. So we are going to do our best to predict the Stanley Cup playoffs. How's it going to go? And all right. So we're going to start with Toronto and Ottawa. Alex, how do you think it's going to go?
I feel like we're going to get an Austin Matthews advancement of the Maple Leafs in the tournament. The Senators have struggled recently to get going. The Leafs have refused to slow down at any battle with the Lightning and the Panthers in the Eastern Conference for the division title. So I don't see the Leafs slowing down at all. I see the Senators struggling against the Austin Matthews driven offense, and that offense is pretty aggressive. You've seen in playoffs in years past, and I don't see the Leafs struggling at all. I see this being easily 5 or 6 game series. I wouldn't be surprised if Ottawa because of some of a fight, but not enough to advance against the Maple Leafs.
All right. So you're saying Toronto in 5.
Yes.
Toronto in 5. I am going in an interesting direction here. I am actually going to go different. I am going with Ottawa in 6. The reason why I'm saying this is the Toronto Maple Leafs have always been a glass cannon when it comes when during the Austin Matthews era. And that's true. That's my reasoning. So I am going Ottawa in 6. Um Now, Battle Florida, Tampa Bay versus the Panthers.
Now we saw the series last year, and it was a intense series in the state of Florida. Obviously, both teams coming off a great regular season. Both teams doing what they normally do in that 3-2 slot in the postseason and the regular season as general. They seem to always stick in that 3-2 spot. Now we saw the Panthers ended up advancing against Tampa because they ended up winning the whole thing. I just didn't happen. Even though I love Sergei Bobrovsky and I love that Florida Panthers team, the Lightning have seemed to have a fire, but other than that we've never seen before, like it was back, 3 or 4 years ago when they went back to back. So I think the Lightning are going to win in 7 games. They very tight series. And I think we're going to get 7 games. I do not think this game will be a sweep for the Lightning. The Panthers will come out with fire and will. And I think with them being at home, they're going to win the first 2 games. But I think Tampa eventually is going to come back and win. It's 2 games at home and then go back and forth. But I think Tampa will advance in 7.
Tampa, you're going Tampa in 7.
Yes.
I'm going Florida in 7. I think this is going to be one of those smash mouth brawls for the Battle of Florida. You have 2 great goaltenders in Andrei Vasilevsky and Sergei Bobrovsky. So again, I think it's going to be a goal duel, and I think Florida takes it. Florida in 7. All right, Washington and Montreal. Alex.
Now, I'm going to give a non-biased take as much as I can give one because I'm going to say the Capitals, but I'm going to give good reasons for both teams and why this series might be a close game. The Canadians have been battling tooth and nail to get into the spot to face the Capitals. They seem to have never slowed down at all. The Capitals have fell off a little bit at the back half of the season. Obviously, Ovechkin breaking his leg in November, slowing them down a little bit, him passing the record was definitely a big pickup to get them pushing for the President's Trophy. Obviously, it looks like we're not going to win the trophy right now because the Jets seem to always win games. But in my personal opinion, the Capitals are playing with fire. They're playing with pride. They're playing for the second Stanley Cup. And I don't think the Canadians are going to stop us. I don't think we're going to sweep the Canadians. I think we're going to go to 7 games with them and win in 7. I don't see the Canadians going out in 4 games. I see them battling hard, but the Capitals are playing for way more than the Canadians are. Ovechkin's last year, second Stanley Cup is right there. All we have to do is just win 4 series to get there. And I don't see us losing. So give me Capitals in 7.
All right. So, I know I'm going to keep going contrarian here because I All right, I'm gonna go a little contrarian here. I think the Montreal Canadiens. You said it best. Montreal Canadiens are hungry. They scraped and clawed their way into the Stanley Cup playoffs. So that is why I am saying Montreal 6. All right. Now, Carolina and New Jersey. Al, who you got?
I think the series is going to be a good one to watch. I love the Hurricanes, especially Aho. I love what they're doing over there in Carolina. But I have a weird feeling that the Devils are going to come into this series. I'm pretty sure they're at home for the first two games. The Devils do well at home. They play hard at home. The fans are hyped at home. And they're going to be in that stadium rocking the red and white for the New Jersey Devils. I do not see the Hurricanes being able to stop the Devils in this series. And I think this is going to be a good series and a good upset. 'Cause I think the Hurricanes are the better team, but the Devils, I think they're going to be playing with more pride. I'm pretty sure they haven't been here in a long time for the Devils. They've struggled as a franchise, and now they're in this spot to go all the way. So I'm going to go with the Devils in 6 games.
All right. Devils in 6. Um, and I'm gonna go a different route. Um, I am saying the Devils sweep the Hurricanes.
Hot take?
Yeah, that's a hot take. I'm saying the Devils sweep the Hurricanes. Um, I just think the Devils are more complete defensively than Hurricanes. I mean, even though the Hurricanes also have goaltender Pyotr Kochetkov, it's just the Devils are more complete. So that's my hot take. All right. Now for the West. Let's start at the top. Winnipeg, St. Louis.
I think this series is going to be must watch TV. The Jets are playing out of this world with Connor Hellebuck playing out of his mind, averaging just under 2 goals on average, which is unseen and unheard of in a long time in the NHL. The Blues are playing like it's 2019 all over again when they won the Stanley Cup with Jordan Binghamton at the goalie spot. The Blues have been playing crazy. I don't think the series is going to be a sweep for either team. This is going to go all the way to 7. The Blues, I'm pretty sure, are going to be on the road against Winnipeg, which is a tough place to play in. I cannot lie. Winnipeg is a tough place to play in. And I see this game going to 7, and I'm going with the biggest upset of the Western Conference. Give me Jordan Binghamton, the Blues, to upset the Jets in 7 games.
Wow. Okay. Alex is going with the upset with the Blues over the Jets. And I'm going to say it's the Jets in 5. Bennington is good, but he's not 2019 good. That's all I'll say on the matter. All right, Dallas and Colorado. Alex, who you got?
This is Floyd going back and playing as his former team in the Knights. We've seen this over again. The Knights, I think the last time they were at this position, they lost to the Capitals in Vegas in the Stanley Cup final with 40 was, I believe, at net for them. The
Dallas and
Wild.
Colorado. Dallas, Colorado. Dallas, not Vegas. And
That was my
Alex,
bad.
kill a little time. I'll be right back. All right, I'll be right back.
So it'd be Dallas and Colorado.
Dallas, Colorado.
Okay, my bad. Sorry about that. The Avalanche have multiple award-winning players on their team this year with McCann and McKinnon. They have a good goalie. They have the advantage in this series. Dallas is a good team. They have great players. I don't like the Stars in this series. I think the Avalanche have the advantage in this series. I do like what the Avalanche have been doing this season. I've been watching them pretty closely, and I do like what McKinnon is doing and Marquez is doing. I do love the Avalanche. I want the series to go deep to 7 games. I don't think he's going to. I think the Avalanche have the advantage. They play well at home. They play well on the road. The Stars have seemed to struggle late in the season to win games, win big important games to get to where they want to be at. And it sucks. The Stars have been looking for this spot for a long time. They've been trying to do this for a while,
All
and they
right.
just can't find footing. So give me the
Okay.
Avalanche in 6 games.
Avalanche in 6. Okay. All right. Avalanche in 6 for Alex. Um, I gotta go with you on that. I'm going Colorado, but in 5. Dallas, all they have is Jake Ottinger. That's all they got. I don't, and he's only one guy. I don't think Dallas has anything else. All right. The Kings and the Oilers.
I like this series on paper. There's a lot of good players on this team for both sides. Julio Drystand is probably going to win a trophy for a solo award. He's playing crazy, but David is playing off the walls as per usual. The Kings, on the other hand, the Kings seem to be having up and down season this year. As far as I can tell, based on how they've been going up and down in the standings to get to where they are right now, I do see the Oilers getting back to a deep playoff run. You saw them last year barely lose to the Panthers and a comeback that we've never seen before. They barely lost to the Panthers. I don't see the Oilers doing that again this year. I don't see them losing in the Cup final again. But for right now, I like the Oilers in this series. I think the Oilers are going to beat the Kings in 6 games.
Right. All right. Edmonton in 6. I'm going I am also agreeing with you, Alex. I'm going Edmonton in 6. I don't think the Kings have enough. Like they have on paper this looks like a good match. But I don't think the Kings have enough to get them over the hump. Not this year. All right, and for the final matchup, the Golden Knights with their star player LTIR and the Minnesota Wild.
I really like this series. I do like both teams in this series. Florida, retiring. He's looking to win another cup again. But the Wild team, who has been playing really well this season, they've been back and forth with the Blues, up and down the 1 and 2 spot in the wild card spot. They have a quick shakes. The Blues refuse to let them die. But that's not what this series is about. The series is Florida playing as this former team against a team that hasn't been in the Stanley Cup since 2018. They lost to the Capitals as the expansion.
Hold up. X, the Knights have won a Stanley Cup recently. Okay, they won it
Oh yeah,
2 years ago. Correct?
yeah.
Oops.
My bad.
Yep.
Knights are looking.
Continue.
Knights, Knights are looking to win again. The Wild are looking to win the first cup in franchise history. They've always been a struggle team. Make the playoffs, lose in the first round, or miss the playoffs entirely. The Wild are playing well. Kaprizov's playing well. Floridy's playing well. The series is going to be a tight one. It's going to be a close one. I like the Wild in 7 games. I feel like this is a good series for both sides of the puck, but I like the Wild just a little bit more than the Knights. So give me 40 advancing with the Wild in 7.
Well, I am going to definitely deliver the hottest of hot takes because I have the Minnesota Wild channeling their inner Aaron Rodgers to the Vikings, and they are sweeping the Vegas Golden Knights. That is the hottest of hot takes I have. So that's how we're doing it. And I that's how we're gonna close the bracket. That's how we're closing it. Uh, so, and on that note, uh, sports fans, thank you for listening. Um, we would like to remind you that this episode of the Dirt and Turf podcast, excuse me, of Biscuits and Penalties was brought to you by Bulletproof Coffee. You know, for a lot of these teams, they definitely seemed like they needed a pick me up. All things considered, they couldn't get over the hump. They couldn't get to the Stanley Cup playoffs. So they need a pick me up. Why not Bulletproof Coffee? After all, a better you starts with the right fuel. Whether that's coffee, whether that's greens, whether that's MCT oil, or even collagen peptides, or even a protein bar. Bulletproof Coffee and Bulletproof supplements definitely have your pick me up. They not only have coffee and supplements, but they also have it available in the subscription boxes as well. You can cancel at any time, but if you do decide to use Bulletproof Coffee, use our affiliate link in the bio wherever you get your podcast. Show the channel some love. All right. And of course, once again, thank you for listening. We would like to remind you of our other podcasts as well. The Lap Down, our NASCAR and racing podcast. The Social Slam podcast. Tomorrow we are definitely taking one last stop before WrestleMania. And of course, the Dirt and Turf podcast, our baseball podcast that we had last night. And of course, the Hard Count, which will be having a post-draft episode later on this month, or next month. I think it's next month, but it will happen. And also we will have the return of Passing the Pigskin, but it is college football this time. So be on the listen for that. Our friend Tyler will be doing that podcast on his own, so be on the listen for him. Of course, all our we have our other affiliates as well. We do more than just Bulletproof Coffee. They're all in the bio wherever you get your podcasts. We're also available on Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok, as long as that's open, because the government doesn't work for us anymore. Fuck. So, anywho, Alex, is there anything you want to add?
Go Caps, and get ready for a playoff jam-packed episode next weekend.
All right. Anyhow, that, and I believe it's time to step off the ice. I'm Cobra on Alex. We here to Zamboni. It's time to get off. See you next time, guys.